So a guy called the other day, Alec, my dry suit, every time I use it I get wet. It's not supposed to happen. Yeah, I can sympathize. And he said, no, I've checked the suit. The suit is not leaking. It's got to be the gall darn valves. And he's quite right. You can actually check the suit to see if your dry suit is leaking. I don't know if you know how to do that. You all know how to do that? No? Did we talk about that, Kevin? No? You take what are those big bottles of Coke? What are they, liter?
Yeah, the 2-liter one.
Large bottles of Coke, right? And from the inside, you put one in each arm in the sleeve, so it seals. And then you get a ball, a fairly hard ball of this size, and you put that from the inside up into the neck. Then you close the zipper. You hook it up to your tank and you blow it up. So now you got this big blowing. Can't blow it too much. If you blow it too hard, it'll blow the bottles out. But you blow it up until it's a fairly hard corpse on the floor. Yeah. And then you get a spray bottle with water, a couple of drops of dishwashing fluid in it. Give it a bit of a shake, not too much. And you go around just spray all the seams, spray around the valves, spray everything all over the suit. If the suit itself, the neoprene or nylon suit is leaking, it'll show as a stream of bubbles coming out. Yeah. So he says, I've checked the suit as you have told me in the past in one of our videos. I think I did that, didn't I? That'd be a good one to do. Check your dry suit for leaks. It's got to be one of the valves. I said, okay, well, most commonly, it'll be the exhaust valve. The intake valve doesn't usually leak. It's sealed into the suit. The valves are both sealed into the suit. Usually one on each side. Sometimes they have the intake here and the exhaust here and so on, but whatever. They have an intake valve and an exhaust valve. And the intake valve is very, very simple. It's just an O-ring steel rod with 2 O-rings on it, and you press on it and the air goes past the O-ring into the suit. You let go of it, the spring pushes it out and it stops. It can happen, but on it. Usually it's the exhaust valve. Yeah. So I thought I would take a minute and maybe give you a hint. This is a typical exhaust valve. This valve was made by GSD, very, very common, used by many, many companies. They peel this sticker off and put their own on. It's a very common valve. Most exhaust valves, most valves on dry suits are fairly similar, all pretty similar. So all you need to do is take it out, take it apart, and clean it. Wow, that's a $50 bill at the dive store, probably, mostly labor. Anyway, what do? Take it out. Go to the inside of the suit. Reach to the inside of the suit, and you'll see a surface like this. It usually has some knobs on it, so you can get a fairly good grip on it. This portion with the button is on the outside, water side. This portion is on the inside. So get to this portion. Now you have to hold the outside portion firmly, reach through the suit, through the zipper, to the inside portion, and break it open. It could be very stiff. It might come off easily. It could be very, very stiff. It's very, very stiff. Put your hand hard against it like that, and push and turn, and eventually, hopefully, this will break free. This section here will come right off. That's all it's there for. That's just to hold the suit. Now there's a ring like this. Okay, that ring is there so that when you screw this in, it slides on the ring. It's not grabbing the rubber, the neoprene or nylon of the suit. So it's an anti-friction ring is what it is. The anti-friction ring, if you look at it, usually has a flat side, which goes against the flat side of the valve, so the valve will spin. And the other side will often have a little ridge on it, like a little mountain, ring amount, a little ridge on there. And that goes into the neoprene, it digs into the neoprene to make it a good seal. That's all that is. That's inside nut, if you like, and friction ring. And that leaves you with this. Pull it out. So the hole in the suit is only about 1 inch. This thing is 2.5 inches across, but the actual hole in the suit's 1 inch, 1.25 inches. So now you can take the outside valve off. Sometimes, some suits, these are glued in. They're not glued in permanently, or you wouldn't be able to do this. But sometimes these are glued in, so you may find, once again, if you turn it, it'll actually unthread. You may have to take a screwdriver and carefully pry it away to get this part out. And so you end up with this. Let's see. Inside of the suit, this is the important part. This is the outside. Now what do? Well, keep going.
Hold it up.
Oh, now what are you doing? Now let's keep going. Take it apart some more. This part unscrews in this particular valve. This part, Kevin. Now look what happened. That's what it's supposed to do. This is the part that goes into here. That goes against the suit, okay? But that's not going to stop water because there's a big hole there and big holes here. Water will just go in and out of that, so that's really not too much. This is the spring that makes the valve open and close. That sits in there just like that. This is the important part. This right here is the important part. Come in closer here, Kevin. I want to point out a couple of things quickly. Again, this is specific to this valve, this exhaust valve, but most dry suit valves are similar. So there's going to be a button of some sort. It could be metal like this, could be plastic, okay? And there'll be a spring. You can see down in there, there's a spring. There'll be a spring on that shaft because when you push the button in, air bubbles out of your suit, good. When you let go, it has to pop back out to seal it. So there'll be a spring in there. And then on this side in here, there'll be a shaft, there'll be a rod like that. And sorry, there'll be a rod like that so that you can see it moves in and out. And right here, I'm going to try to show you this, Kevin. Can you see right there? See that white part? That's rubber. You see that? That's a rubber flapper valve. Now, sometimes these flapper valves are normally, in fact, let me get my finger on it again there. Most commonly, they're black rubber. See it right there? And I'm going to let it go. See? It just flaps shut. Normally they're black rubber, maybe a little bit bigger, but there'll be some type of a flapper valve on there. Now what that does, when you press this button in, okay, you open the O-ring slide on this shaft here, slides through and lets the air go through. It pushes that little flapper valve out of the way and bubbles to the surface. Now when you let go, the valve pops back out and the O-ring on the shaft stops air from going out and stops water from going in. But that flapper valve helps to keep the water from going back in. Increased water pressure helps to push that flapper valve tight against, and that keeps water from going in. This is where the problem is. If your dry suit is not leaking, the suit is not leaking, but you're getting water, and most typically you're going to get water from here to here, from your chin down to your belly button. That's where you get wet. That's where it's coming from, almost always. What do? Well, clean it. You can't do much. I don't suggest that you take this little valve apart. All there is in there is one, sometimes two tiny O-rings. There's no point. Don't need to take it apart. Get some warm soapy water. Put this in the warm soapy water and let it back and forth 2 or 3 times, okay? Pull that valve out, rinse it well under hot water, and then get a little bit of silicone grease and pull it in, get some in there, smear on the shaft, lubricate a little wee bit, put it all back together, and I'd be very surprised if you don't find that your dry suit is working perfectly again. Just that simple. Now, getting it back together is interesting. It's going to help a whole lot if you watched, maybe even took pictures as you took it apart. But you should be able to get all the parts back together like so, and then take your anti-friction ring, put this through from the outside, put this on the inside with the flat surface against the locking nut, put the locking nut on there, and then holding both sides, get it back together nice and tightly in your dry suit and go diving. Really, I guess what I'm saying is, don't be afraid, take it apart. Hey, you can always take it to your dive store and they charge you $200 to replace it. I'm just kidding. They're really quite simple. Warm water, tiny bit of soap, rinse it well, a little bit of silicone grease. Should solve your problem. I forget the name of the chap who asked about that. Thanks for your comment. Hope that helps. And once again, I'm out of here. This is Alec, Peirce Scuba Tech Tips.